Okay, so we're gonna branch out. I wanted to try something different. I need to change of pace. I'm gonna do the same stuff, but as far as books, I'm politicked out. You know what I mean? Nothing's getting done about it. As normal, nothing's getting done about it. So we're gonna move on to the Divine Comedy here. So last time, like I said, I was looking over it, and there's no audio. I said that in the last video. It has a timestamp. You can go through it and you can find all the timestamps where I'm at because I have to pause it. But there's no audio. It was in the beginning before I knew how to do anything, and I was figuring everything out, and I wanted to see what happened. So I decided to do Dante's Divine Comedy here with Dante Alighieri, or is it Alighieri or Alighieri? There's so many different pronunciations. Very well rounded. You remind me of Mr. Washington.
King of the Hill.
And the idea of... but we're going to do this. So hopefully this is a good change of pace. And hopefully we do well. I'm not going to switch it up or anything. Last time I did Magic. So we'll do Halo. We'll be in the game. We'll be on the ground. Maybe we'll do some duty. Try to switch it up. There are 9 circles, so...
Hill incoming.
Kind of just jumping into this.
Hill ready.
Very nice.
Enemy team took the hill.
The Divine Comedy of Dante Alighieri, translated by Charles Eliot Norton. Number 1, Hell. Oh, the guy getting overkill? I don't believe that at all. I'm good on that. No, thank you. Nah. Random stranger. I mean what I say. It's odd. Heartbeat. We're not kidding. I haven't even started it yet. I haven't even started it yet. Thank you, though. Do you see my name here? Empty on that one. Clearly stated. So I just want to correct the proper the wording over here. Let me go back to it. I have to call you out. So this is my name. I just want to point this out. Thank you, Sir Dante. As I go through the legal issues there. But I'm gonna go ahead and do this because I would be the owner of it. Nobody's approached me. They're doing this on their own. They think they're punishing me. No. It's out of greed. It's for selfish reasons. But we'll go ahead and continue to hell here.
Hello?
Introduction.
Oh,
Some new versions of the Divine Comedy exist in English that a new one might well seem needless. But most of these translations are in verse, and the intellectual temper of our time is impatient of a transmutation in which substance is sacrificed for form's sake. And the new form, it will actually, the Rosetta Stone, it would have been in English. So they actually would have translated it from English into Italian. Because I would be the father, and I would be the owner, right? Because the Rosetta Stone, which has been proven. I won't read that part though. We'll stick to the canto here. So hell. Canto 1. Dante, astray in a wood, reaches the foot of a hill, which he begins to ascend. He is hindered by 3 beasts. He turns back and is met by Virgil, who proposes to guide him into the eternal world. Midway upon the road of our life, I found myself in the dark wood, for the right way had been missed. Ah, how hard a thing it is to tell what this wild and rough and dense wood was, which in thought renewed the fear. So bitter is it that death is little more. But in order to treat of the good that there I found, I will tell the other things that I have seen there. I cannot well recount how I entered it, so full was I
stop
of
you?
slumber at that point where I
Before we
abandoned the true way.
continue,
But after I had arrived at the foot of a hill, where that valley ended, which had pierced my heart with fear, I looked on high and saw his shoulders, clothed already with the rays of the
okay.
planet, that leadeth men aright.
I already see the problem I'm gonna have here. Again, this is coffee talk. As we read this, I learned this. So these people are not involved behind the scenes. Whatever they say. They have not approached me. They're trying to take the business over themselves. They need to be removed. They start talking through the screen. That needs to stop. You are not involved with this. I would be the copyright owner to this. Stop jumping in on this. I'm playing the game. Keep it to yourself. We're not doing this extra plasma pump, whatever the fuck it is. Pixel. We're not putting up with it. You are not involved. They can see everything in the arc. I promise you, you will be dealt with. So stop. This is your one and only warning. Radio City, I'm not arguing with this eye movement bullshit at all. So, you have been warned. Iceberg, you have been warned.
Rosetta Stone, it would have been in English. So they actually would have translated it from English into Italian. Because I would be the father, and I would be the owner, right? Because the Rosetta Stone, which has been proven. I won't read that part, though.
There they go.
We'll stick to the canto here.
Okay. Douchebag.
So hell.
Douchebag. Understand me.
Canto 1. Dante, astray in a wood, reaches the foot of a hill, which he begins to ascend. He is hindered by 3 beasts. He turns back and is met by Virgil, who proposes to guide him into the eternal world. Midway upon the road of our life, I found myself within a dark wood, for the right way had been missed. Ah! How hard a thing it is to tell what this wild and rough and dense wood was, which in thought renewed the fear. So bitter is it that death is little more. But in order to treat of the good that there I found, I will tell the other things that I have seen there. I cannot well recount how I entered it, so full was I of slumber at that point where I abandoned the true way. But after I had arrived at the foot of a hill, where that valley ended, which had pierced my heart with fear, I looked on high and saw its shoulders, clothed already with the rays of the planet, that leadeth men aright along every path. Then was the sun a planet according to the Ptolemaic system. The fear a little quieted, which in the lake of my heart had lusted through the night that I passed so piteously. And even as one who with spent breath issued out of the sea upon the shore, turns to the perilous water and gazes, so did my soul, which still was flying, turn back to look again upon the past which never had a living person left. After I had rested a little my weary body, I took my way again along the desert slope, so that the firm foot was always lower, and lo, almost at the beginning of the steep, a she-leopard, light and very nimble, which was covered with a spotted coat,
I will do something
and she
about
did not
it.
move from before my face, nay, rather hindered so my road that if to return
I
oftentimes
most
had returned.
definitely will do something about it.
The time was at the beginning of the morning, and the sun was mounted upward with those stars that were with him when love divine first set in motion those beautiful things. So that the hour of the time and the sweet season were occasion of good hope to me concerning that wild
Okay.
beast
This is
with the
not
dappled
going
skin.
to be enjoyable.
But not so that the
I can
sight which
already
appeared to
tell.
me of a lion did not give me fear. He seemed to be coming against me, with head high and with ravening hunger, so that it seemed that, according to old tradition, the spring was the season of the creation. The air was affrighted at him, and a she-wolf, who with all craving seemed laden in her meagerness, and already had made many folk to live forlorn. She caused me so much heaviness with the fear that came from sight of her that I lost hope of the height. And such as he who gaineth willingly, and the time arrives that makes him loose, who in all his thoughts weeps and is sad, such made me the beast without repose, that coming on against me, little by little, was pushing me back thither where the sun is silent.
No.
While I was falling back in the low place, before mine eyes appeared one, through long silence, seemed hoarse. When I saw him in the great
This is
desert,
not going to
have
be
pity on
enjoyable.
me,
I
I
can
cried
already
to
tell
him.
you.
What so thou art, or shade, or real man? He answered me, not man. Man once I was, and my parents were Lombards and Montuans, by country both. I was born sub Julio, though late, and I lived at Rome under the good Augustus in the time of the false and lying gods. Poet was I, and sang of that just son of Anchises, who came from Troy after proud Ilion had been burned. But thou, why returnest thou to so great annoy? Why dost thou not ascend the delectable mountain which is the source and cause of every joy? These three beasts corresponded to the triple division of sins into those of incontinence, of violence,
So we're
and
gonna
of
move
fraud. Art thou, then, that Virgil, and that fount which poureth forth so large a stream of speech? Replied I to him with bashful front, O honor and light of the other poets, may the long zeal avail me, and the great love which have made me search thy volume. Thou art my master and my author, thou alone art he from whom I took the fair style that hath done me honor. Behold the beast because of which I turned, help me against her, famous sage, for she makes my veins and pulses tremble. Thee it behoves to hold another course, he replied, when he saw me weeping. If thou wishest to escape from this savage place, for this beast because of which thou criest out, let's not any one pass along her way, but so hinders him that she kills him. And she has a nature so malign and evil that she never sates her greedy will, and her after food is hungrier than before. Many are the animals with which she wives, and there shall be more yet, till the hound shall come that will make her die of grief. He shall not feed on land or goods, but wisdom and love and valor, and his birthplace shall be between Feltro and Feltro. Of that humble Italy shall he be the salvation, for which the Virgin Camilla died, and Euryalus, Turnus, and Nissus of their wounds. He shall hunt her through every town, till he shall have set her back in hell, there whence envy first sent her forth. Wherefore I think and deem it for thy best that thou follow me, and I will be thy guide, and I will lead thee hence through the eternal place, where thou shalt hear the despairing shrieks, shalt see the ancient spirits woeful who each proclaim the second death, and then thou shalt see those who are contented in the fire, because they hope to come, whenever it may be, to the blessed folk, to whom if thou wilt thereafter ascend, there shall be a soul more worthy than I for that. With her I will leave thee at my departure, for that emperor who reigneth there above, because I was rebellious to his law, wills not that into his city any one should come through me. In all parts he governs, and there he reigns. There is his city and his lofty seat. O happy he whom thereto he elects, and I to him. Poet, I beseech thee by that God whom thou didst not know, in order that I may escape this ill and worse, that thou lead me thither where thou now hast said, so that I may see the gate of St. Peter, and those whom thou makest so afflicted. Then he moved on, and I behind him kept. Canto 2.
The O. Oh.
Dante, doubtful of his own powers, is discouraged at the outset. Virgil cheers him by telling him that he has been sent to his aid by a blessed spirit from heaven. Dante casts off fear, and the poets proceed. The day was going, and the dusky air was taking the living things that are on earth from their fatigues. And I alone was preparing to sustain the warlike of the road, and of the woe which the mind that erreth not shall retrace. O muses, O lofty genius, now assist me. O mind that didst inscribe that which I saw here, shall thy nobility appear. I began. Poet that guidest me, consider my virtue, if it is sufficient ear to the deep past that trusteth me. Thou sayest that the parent of Silvius, while still corruptible, went to the immortal world, and was there in the body. Wherefore, if the adversary of every ill was then courteous, thinking on the high effect that would proceed from him, and on the who and the what, it seemeth not unmeet to the man of understanding. For in the imperial heaven he had been chosen for father of reverend Rome, of her empire, both which, to say truth indeed, were ordained for the holy place where the successor of the greater Peter hath his seat. Through this going, whereof thou givest him vaught, he learned things which were the cause of his victory and of the papal mantle. Afterward the chosen vessel went thither to bring thence comfort to that faith which is the beginning of the way of salvation. But I, why go I thither? Or who concedes it? I am not Aeneas, I am not Paul. Me worthy of this neither I nor others think. Wherefore if I give myself up to go, I fear lest the going may be mad. Thou art wise, thou understandest better than I speak. And as is he who unwills what he willed, and because of new thoughts changes his design, so that he quite withdraws from beginning, such I became on that dark hillside. Wherefore in my thought I ended the resolve which had been so quick in the beginning. If I have rightly understood thy speech, he replied, that shade of the magnanimous one, thy soul is hurt by cowardice, which oftentimes encumbereth a man so that it turns him back from honorable enterprise, is false seen doing a beast when it is startled. In order that thou loose thee from this fear, I will tell thee wherefore I have come, and what I heard at the first moment that I grieved for thee. I was among those who were suspended, and a lady called me so blessed and beautiful that I besought her to command. Her eyes were more lucent than the star, and she began to speak to me sweet and low, with angelic voice in her own tongue. O courteous Montoine soul, of whom the fame yet lasteth in the world, and shall last so long as the world endureth. A friend of mine, and not a fortune, upon the desert hillside, is so hindered on his road that he has turned for fear, and I am afraid, through that which I have heard of him in heaven, lest already he be so astray that I may have risen late to his succor. Now do thee move, and with thy speech ornate, and with whatever is needful for his deliverance, assist him so that I may be consoled for him. I am Beatrice.
Appreciate it.
Who make thee go, I come from a place whither I desire to return. Love moved me, and makes me speak. When I shall be before my Lord, I will commend thee often unto him. Then she was silent, and thereon I began. O Lady of Virtue, thou alone, through whom the human race surpasseth all contained within that heaven which hath the smallest circles, so pleasing unto me is thy command, that to obey it, were it already done, were slow to me. Thou hast no need further to open unto me thy will, but tell me the cause why thou guardest not thyself from the descending down here into the center, from the ample place whither thou art on fire to return. Since thou wishest to know so inwardly, I will tell thee briefly, she replied to me. Wherefore I fear not to come here within. One ought to fear those things only that have power of doing harm, the others not, for they are not dreadful. I am made by God, thanks be to him, such that your misery toucheth me not, nor doth the flame of this burning assail me. A gentle lady is in heaven, who hath pity for this hindrance whereto I send me, so that stern judgment there above she breaketh. She summoned Lucia in her request, and said, Thy faithful one now hath need of thee, and unto thee I commend him. Lucia, the foe of every cruel one, rose, and came to the place where I was, and seated with the ancient Rachel. She said, Beatrice, true praise of God, why dost thou not succor him, so loved thee that for thee he come forth from the vulgar throng? Dost thou not hear the pity of his plaint? Dost thou not see the death that combats him beside the stream wherefrom the sea hath no vaunt? In the world never were persons swift, so seek their good, and to fly their harm, as I, after these words were uttered, came here below from the Virgin, blessed seat, putting my trust in the upright speech which honors thee and them who have heard it. After she had said this to me, weeping she turned her lucent eyes,
Leonardo?
whereby she made me more speedy in coming. And I came to thee as she willed. Thee have I delivered from that wild beast that took from thee the short ascent of the beautiful mountain. What is it then? Why dost thou hold back? Why dost thou harbor such cowardice in thy heart? Why hast thou not daring and boldness, since thee blessed ladies care for thee in the court of heaven, and my speech pledges thee such good?
Because you weren't invited and you're a
As
random
flowerets bent
stranger.
and closed by the chill of night, after
Right.
the sun shines on them,
Truly.
straighten themselves all open in their stem, as I become with my weak virtue, and such good daring hastened to my heart, that I began like one enfranchised. Oh, compassionate she who succored me, and now courteous who didst speedily obey the true words that she addressed to thee. Thou by thy words hast so disposed my heart with desire of going, that I have returned into my first intent.
Gain the lead.
Go on now, for one soul will is in both. Thou leader, thou lord, and thou master. Thus I said to him, and when he has moved on, I entered along the deep and savage road. I appreciate you, Dante, as you pass ownership onto me. They're just upright ignoring me.
Little flake there. Get it out.
I have nothing to say. Here it is. I appreciate you. All the deeds in the book. Canto. My name. You spelled it. It's all starting to add up, though, as I read this. I appreciate you. Algieri. Is it Alighieri? Allegory? Alighieri? So many different things. I appreciate you. I really do.
Perfect.
Like I said, this would be the he would speak English with the Rosetta Stone. So this would be the original version. The copyright, I don't. Again, you dishonor your father. There's so many steps here that were taken. Like this is you're talking about the system itself. Hey, I'm doing all I can. You're doing all you can. They're doing all they can up in the sky.
We lost the
I appreciate everybody. However, I'm gonna move on to Canto 3 here, Sir Dante. This is amazing. I'm enjoying it. As we move on to Beatrice, I haven't figured out who Beatrice is. Canto 3. The Gate of Hell. Virgil leads Dante in. The punishment of the neither good nor bad. Acheron and the sinners on his bank. Charon, earthquake, Dante, swoons. Through me is the way into the woeful city. Through me is the way into eternal woe. Through me is the way among the lost people. Justice moves my high creator. The divine power, the supreme wisdom, and the primal love made me. Before me were no things created, unless eternal, and I eternal last. Leave every hope ye who enter. These words of color obscure I saw written at the top of the gate, whereat I, master, their meaning is dire to me, and he to me like one who knew. Here it behoves to leave every fear, it behoves that I all cowardice should here be dead. We have come to the place where I have told thee that thou shalt see the woeful people who have lost the good of the understanding. And when he had put his hand on mine, with a glad countenance wherefrom I took courage, he brought me within the secret things. Here sighs, laments, and deep wailings were resounding through the sairless air, wherefore at first I wept thereat. Strange tongues, horrible cries, words of woe, accents of anger, voices high and hoarse, and sounds of hands with them, were making a tumult which whirls forever in that air dark without change, like the sand when he whirlwind breaths.
Thank you. That's all I needed to see. That growling dog. Get him off. That way we can branch off and get away from them. Again, we're just having coffee talk right now. Seems like a threat.
And I, who had my head girt with horror, said, Master, what is it that I hear? And what folk are they who seem in woe so vanquished? Either they're being tortured or they're having sex. And he to me, this miserable measure, the wretched souls maintain of those who live without infamy and without praise. Mingled are they with that caitiff choir of the angels. Mingled are they with that Clayton choir of the angels, who were not rebels, nor were faithful to God, but were for themselves. The heavens chase them out in order to be not less beautiful, nor doth the death of hell receive them, because the damned would have some glory from them. And I, Master, what is so grievous to them, and makes them lament it so bitterly? He answered, I will tell thee very briefly. These have no hope of death, and their blind life is so debased, that they are envious of every other lot. Fame of them the world permitteth not to be. Mercy and justice disdain them. Let us not speak of them, but do thou look and pass. And I was gazing, saw a banner, that a whirring ran so swiftly that it seemed to me to scorn all repose, and behind it came so long a train of folk, that I could never have believed death and undone so many. After I had distinguished some among them, I saw and knew the shade of him who made through cowardice the great refusal. At once I understood and was certain that this was the sect of the Claytons displeasing unto God and unto his enemies negative. These wretches who never were alive were naked, and much strung by gadflies and by wasps that were there. These streaked their faces with blood, which mingled with tears was harvested at their feet by loathsome worms. And when I gave myself to looking onward, I saw people on the bank of a great river. Wherefore I said, Master, now grant to me that I may know who these are, and what rule makes them appear so ready to pass over, as I discern through the faint light. And he to me, the things will be clear to thee, when we shall set our steps on the sad marge of Alighieri. Then, with eyes bashful and cast down, fearing lest my speech had been irksome to him, far as to the river I refrained from speaking. And lo, coming toward us in a boat, an old man, white, with ancient hair, crying, Woe to you, wicked souls! Hope not ever to see heaven. I come to carry you to the other bank, into eternal darkness to heat and frost. And thou who art there, living soul, depart from these that are dead. But when he saw that I did not depart, he said, By another way. By other ports thou shalt come to the shore, not here, for passage. It behoves that a lighter bark bear thee. And my leader to him, Charon, vex not thyself. It is thus, willed there where is power to do that which is willed, and farther ask not. Then the fleecy cheeks were quiet of the pilot of the livid marsh, who round about his eyes had wheels of flame. But those souls who were weary and naked changed color and gnashed their teeth soon as they heard his cruel words. They blasphemed God and their parents, the human race, the place, the time, and the seed of their sowing and of their birth. Then, bitterly weeping, they drew back all of them together to the evil bank that waits for every man who fears not God. Charon the demon, with eyes of glowing coal, beckoning them, collects them all. He beats with his oar whoever takes his ease. As in autumn the leaves fall off one after the other, till the bow sees all its spoil upon the earth. In like wise evil seed, the atom throw themselves from that shore, one by one at signals, as the bird at his call. Thus they go over the dusky wave, and before they have landed on the farther side, already on this a new throng is gathered. We rebuke you! My son, said the courteous master, these who die in the wrath of God all meet together here from every land, and they are eager to pass over the stream, for the divine justice spurs them, so that fear is turned to desire. This way a good soul never passes, and therefore if Charon snarleth at thee, thou now mayest well know what his speech signifies. This ended, the dark plain trembled so mightily, that with the terror my memory yet bathed me with sweat. The tearful land gave forth a wind that flashed a vermilion light, which vanquished every sense of mine, and I fell as a man whom slumber seizes. He's probably deceased, you know, passed away. Canto 4. I'm getting tired of talking. The further side of Achiron, Virgil leads Dante into Limbo, the first circle of hell, containing the spirits of those who lived virtuously but without Christianity. Greeting of Virgil by his fellow poets. They enter a castle where are the shades of ancient worthies. Virgil and Dante depart. A heavy thunder broke the deep sleep in my head, so that I started up like a person who by force is wakened. And risen erect, I moved my rested eye round about, and looked fixedly to distinguish the place where I was. True it is that I found myself on the verge of the valley of the woeful abyss that gathers in thunder of infinite wailings. Dark profound it was, and cloudy, so that though I fixed my sight on the bottom, I did not discern anything there. Now we descend down here into the blind world. Began the poet Apolyd. I will be first, and thou shalt be second. And I, who had observed his color, said, how shall I come, if thou fearest, who art won't be a comfort to my doubting? And he to me, the anguish of the people, the anguish of the folk who are down here, depicts upon my face that pity which thou takest for fear. Let us go on, for the long way urges us. So he set forth, and so he made me enter within the first circle that girds the abyss. Here, so far as could be heard, there was no plaint, but that of sighs which made the eternal air so to tremble. This came of the woe without torments felt by the crowds, which were many and great, of infants and of women and of men. The good master to me, thou dost not ask what spirits are these that thou seest. Now I would have thee know, before thou goest further, that they sin not, and if they have merits, it sufficeth not, because they had not baptism, which is part of the faith that thou believest. And if they were before Christianity, they did not duly worship God. And of such as these am I myself. Through such defects, and not through other guilt, are we lost, and only so far harmed that without hope we live in desire. Great woe seized me at my heart when I heard him, because I knew that people of much worth were suspended in that limbo. Tell me, my master, tell me, Lord, began I, with wish to be assured of that faith that vanquishes every error. Did ever any one who afterwards was blessed go out from here, either by his own or by another's merit? And he who understood my covert speech answered, I was new in this state when I saw a mighty one come hither crowned with sign of victory. He drew out hence the shade of the first parent of Abel his son, and then of Noah of Moses, the lawgiver and obedient. Abraham the patriarch, and David the king Israel, with his father, and with his offspring, and with Rachel, for whom he had so much, and others many, and he had made them blessed. And I have thee know that before these human spirits were not saved. We ceased not going on because he spoke, but all the while were passing through the wood I mean of crowded spirits. Nor yet had our way been long from where I slept, when I saw a fire that conquered a hemisphere of darkness. We were still a little distant from it, yet not so far from that I could not partially discern that honorable folk possessed that place. O thou that honorest both science and art, these who are they that have such honor, from that the condition of others it sets them apart. And he to me, the honorable fame of them which resounds above in thy life wins graces in heaven that so advances them. At this a voice was heard by me. Honor the loftiest poet, his shade returns that was departed. When the voice had ceased and was quiet, I saw 4 great shades come unto us. They had a semblance neither sad nor glad. The good master began to say, Look at him, with that sword in hand, who cometh before the 3, even as Lord. He is Homer, the sovereign poet. The next who comes is Horace, the satirist. Ovid is the 3rd, and the last is Lucan. Since each shares with me the name that solitary voice sounded, they do me honor, and in that do well. Thus I saw assembled the fair school of that lord of the loftiest song, which above the others, as an eagle flies. After that they had discoursed somewhat together, they turned to me with sign of salutation, and my master smiled whereat. And for more of honor yet they did me, for they made me of their band, so that I was the 6th amid so much wit. Thus we went on as far as the light, speaking things concerning which silence is becoming, even as was speech there where I was. We came to the foot of a noble castle, 7 times circled by high walls, defended round about by a fair streamlet. This we passed as if hard ground. Through 7 gates I entered with these sages. We came to a meadow of fresh verdure. People were there with eyes slow and grave, of great authority in their looks. They spake seldom and with soft voices. Thus we drew apart on one side into a place upon luminous and high, so that they all could be seen. Their opposite upon the green enamel were shown to me the great spirits whom to have seen I inwardly exalt myself. I saw Electra with many companions, among whom I knew both Hector and Aeneas, Caesar in armor with his gerfalcon eyes. I saw Camilla and Penthesilea on the other side, and I saw the king Latinus, who was seated with Lavinia, his daughter. I saw that Brutus, who drove out Tarquin, Lucretia, Julian, Marcia, and Cornelia, and alone apart I saw the Saladin. When I raised my brow a little more, I saw the master of those who know seated amid the philosophic family. All regard him, all do him honor. Here I saw both Socrates and Plato, who before the others stand nearest to him. Democritus, who ascribes the world to chance, Diogenes, Anaxagoras, and Thales, Empedocles, Heraclitus, and Zeno. And I saw the good collector of the qualities, Dioscorides, and I saw Orpheus, Tully, and Linus, and moral Seneca, Euclid, the geometer, and Ptolemy, Hippocrates, Avicenna, Galen, and Averroes, who made the great comment. I cannot report of all in full, because the long theme so drives me that many times speech comes short of fact. The company of 6 is lessened to 2. By another way the wise guide leads me out from the quiet into the air that trembles, and I come into a region where is nothing that can give light. We'll go back and do the speech. Here I saw both Socrates, Plato, Democritus, Diogenes, Anaxagoras, Thales, Empedocles, Heraclitus, Zeno, Dioscorides, Orpheus, Tully, Linus, Seneca, Euclid, Ptolemy, Hippocrates, Avicenna, Galen, Averroes. I've heard of most of those. Hi guys, how you doing? Obviously I've heard of Socrates and Plato, the first two. I've heard of Thales, Ptolemy, obviously. Wouldn't you be the patriarch? You'd be the pharaoh. It's just, we're having coffee at the table, is what he's pointing out to the other people. They're withholding the fact that it was written in English first. William, we're gonna go around you here. I'm trying to read it properly, but dude, it's not even an impediment. It's the structure of the speech, and the Brahmin even bring it up. Like it exists, the paradox. It exists because it was already there. You have the same problem, I believe. Let me add my own speech. Clayton, I appreciate you, Dante. I need a stenographer. Good thing I have like my own personal video. I'm glad I didn't like immediately do this on YouTube. I know how you guys are. I would be the owner though. So this would be the original publishing house. Though then you get into like the recording. I can unplug, the internet. That's the problem we're having. Like step by step here, your argument's irrelevant. When you get down to life, let me tell you about it. I hear you, but I don't, especially with this arc. I appreciate you, though, Dante. But today, dude, they're literally, like, trying to brawl. And it's like, dude, shut up. He told me no. Straight to my face, he told me no. You're the only one. You're the only one that's going to tell me no to my face. I promise you. Everybody else, I'll destroy you. As has been shown. I would be included in that. I'm sitting here, so that could have easily hit me. I don't want to hear it. But as it can be seen, I can turn it around and show you the face right in front of you, face to face. By no means is it elegant. A lot of it has to do with the sinuses. By no means is it elegant. You have that down to a science, let me tell you. You figure that one out. If I'm having a problem, you're having a problem.
The damn card.
Go on my rant here, Dante. Well, the boys are having coffee here. Let me get David out. Oh no! Don't you tell me. Oh, we got it. We're good. All the greats. I have nothing to say to you. Even my thoughts are blank. Like, you messed up, I'll be honest. I was just trying to read this book. You are your own man, you know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. Chapter 35, Isaiah. The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as a rose. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of the Lord and the excellency of our God. Strengthen ye the weak hands and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are of fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with recompense, he will come and save you. I'm not scared. It's like it's an annoyance. Not that I dislike you. I'm just saying I can't see you. Like the camera, I cannot see, dude.
Well.
Dude, it's giving me a squishy face. It's a child and it's giving me a squishy face.
True.
Really? I see you. I'm pointing at you right there. That double. Dude, you're doing 3D. I don't like it. It's annoying. The ninja, dude. That's what the mistake that you made was the ninja. I'll be honest. You should not have done that. Then the eyes of the blind shall be open, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then shall the lame man leap as a hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert. Yep. And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. In the habitation of dragons, where each lay shall be grassed with reeds and rushes. And a highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those. The wayfaring men, though fools, shall not err therein. No lion shall be there, nor any ravenous beast shall go up there on it. On. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. And the ransomed of the Lord shall return, and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. So if you were to go to Mecca and to recite this speech, it would create clouds. Or do the opposite. One or the other. I cannot figure it out. I'm not going to get too deep into that. And the ransomed of the Lord. Okay. There is a crime being committed. Whether you like it to be or not. Canto 5. The second circle, that of carnal sinners, Minos, shades renowned of old, Francesca de Rimini. Thus I descended from the first circle down into the second, which girdles less space and so much more woe that it goads to wailing. There abides Minos, horribly, and snarls. He examines the sin at the entrance. He judges and he sins according as he entwines himself. I mean that when the miscreant spirit comes there before him, it confesses itself holy, and that discerner of sin sees what place of hell is for it. He girdles himself with his tail so many times as the degrees he wills it should be sent down. Always before him stand many of them. They go in turn each to the judgment. They speak and hear, and then are rolled below. O thou that comest to the woeful inn, said Minos to them, to Minos to me, when he saw me, leaving the act of so great an office. Beware how thou enterest, and to whom thou trustest thyself. Let not the amplitude of the entrance deceive thee. And my leader to him, why then dost thou cry out? Hinder not his fated going. Thus it is willed there where is power to do that which is willed, and ask thou no more. Now the woeful notes begin to make themselves heard. Now am I come where much lamentation smites me. I had come into a place mute of all light, and blows as the sea doth in a tempest, if it is combated by opposing winds. The infernal hurricane that never rests carries along the spirits in its rapine. Whirling and smiting, it molests them. When they arrive before its rushing blast, here are shrieks and bewailing and lamenting. Here they blaspheme the power divine. I understood that unto such torment are condemned the carnal sinners who subject reason unto lust, and as their wings bear along the starlings in the cold season in a troop large and full, so that blasts the evil spirits. Hither, thither, down, up it carries them. No hope ever comforts them, not of repose, but even of less pain. And as the cranes go singing their lays, making in air a long line of themselves, so saw I come, uttering wails, shades borne along by the aforesaid strife. Wherefore I said, Master, who are those folk whom the black air so castigates? For first of these of whom thou wishest to have knowledge, said he to me then, was empress of many tongues. To the vice of luxury was also she so abandoned that lest she made licit in her law to take away the blame she had incurred. She is Semiramis, of whom it is read that she succeeded Ninus, who had been his spouse. She held the land which the Sultan rules. That other is she, who, for love, killed herself, and broke faith to the ashes of Sychaeus. Next is Cleopatra the luxurious. Helen thou seest, for whom so long a time of ill revolved. And thou seest the great Achilles, who at the end fought with love. Thou seest Paris, Tristan, and more than 1,000 shades he showed me with his finger, and named them whom love had parted from our life. After I heard my teacher name the dames of Eld and the cavalries, pity overcame me, and I was well nigh bewildered. I began, Poet, willingly would I speak with those two that go together, and seem to be so light upon the wind. And he to me, Thou shalt see when they shall be near to us, and do thou then pray them, by that love which leads them they will come. Soon as the wind sways them toward us, I lift my voice. O weary souls, come speak to us, unless someone forbids it. As doves called by desire, with wings open and steady, fly through the air to the sweet nest, borne by their will, these issued from the troop where Ditto is, coming to us through the malign air, so strong was the compassionate cry. O living creature, gracious and benign, that goest through the lurid air, visiting us who stain the world blood red. If the King of the universe were a friend, we would pray him for thy peace, since thou hast pity on our perverse ill. Of what it pleaseth thee to hear, and what to speak, we will hear, and what we will speak to you, while the wind as now is hushed for us. The city where I was born sits upon the seashore, where the Po, with its followers, descends to have peace. Love, that on gentle heart quickly catches hold, seized him for the fair person that was taken from me, and the mode still hurts me. Love, which absolves no loved one from loving, seized me for the pleasing of him so strongly that as thou seest, it does not even now abandon me. Love brought us to one death. Clayton awaits him who quenched our life. These words were born to us from them. Soon as I had heard those injured souls, I bowed my face and held it down until the poet said to me, What art thou thinking? When I replied,
You're being a pest.
I began,
I don't want to
alas,
deal with this at all.
how many
It's more
sweet
than
thoughts, how great
It's
desire
obnoxious.
led these into the woeful past.
The way they did that.
Then I turned me again to them, and I spoke and began. Francesca, thy torments make me sad and
Hey, let me
piteous
walk
to
out the
weeping.
room. Let me start something else.
But tell me, at the time of my sweet sighs, by that and how did love concede to you to
no
know the
reason.
dubious desires? And she to me, there is no great woe then in misery to remember the happy time, and that thy teacher knows, but if to know the first root of our love that thou hast so great a longing, I will do like one who weeps and tells. We were reading one day for delight of Lancelot, how love constrained him. We were alone and without any suspicion. Many times that reading made us lift our eyes and took the color from our faces, but only one point was that which overcame us. When we read of the longing for smile being kissed by such a lover, this one who never from me shall be divided kissed my mouth all trembling. Galahoot was the book, and he who wrote it. That day we read in it no further. While one spirit said this, the other was weeping, so that through pity I swooned, as if I had been dying, and fell as a dead body falls. In the romance, it was Galahoot that prevailed on Guinevere to give a kiss to Lancelot.
I have cards to deal with this.
Clayton Dale Smith, I here do pardon you.
Thank you,
Bids me.
goodbye.
He knights me. I'd knight myself. He's pardoning me. I appreciate you, Caesar. Socrates, Plato, Ptolemy, Cleopatra,
Yeah, thanks. I know my deck.
Helen.
I appreciate it. I'm not really trying to play that game, fucker.
Congregation. I appreciate you.
You won.
You have no idea. You do have an idea, excuse me.
So you have mad I am. You should probably stop.
I wake up daily. Here I am.
Break your fucking nose, dude.
That never occurred to me. Now that you mention it. I could pull out the map. He's talking about Mecca. This would be where he's at. Hell? That would be hell. Hold on.
Where's my insight? I guess I do insight.
I could do without all that. Canto 6. The third circle, that of the gluttonous, Cerberus, Giachko. When the mind returned, which clothed itself before the pity of those two kinsfolk that had all confounded me with sadness, new torments had new tormented souls I see around me wherever I move, and howsoever I turn and wherever I gaze. I am in the third circle, that of the rain eternal, accursed, cold, and heavy. Its rule and quality are never new. Coarse hail and foul water and snow pour down through the tenebrous air. The earth that receives them stinks. Cerberus, a beast cruel and monstrous, with 3 throats, barks dog-like above the people that are here submerged. He has vermilion eyes and a greasy and black beard, and a big belly and hands armed with claws. He tears the spirits, flays them, and rends them. The rain makes them howl like dogs. Of one of their sides they make a scream for the other. The profane wretches often turn themselves. When Cerberus the great worm observed us, he opened his mouth and showed his fangs to us. Not a limb had he that kept quiet. And my leader opened wide his hands, took some earth, and with full fists threw it into the ravenous gullets. As the dog that barking craves, and becomes quiet when he bites his food, and is intent and fights only to devour it, such becomes those filthy faces of the demon Cerberus, who so thunders at the souls that they would fain by death. We were passing over the shades whom the heavy rain subdues, and were setting our feet upon their vain show that seems a body. They all of them lay upon the ground except one who raised himself to sit quickly as he saw us passing before him. O thou who art led through this hell, he said to me, recognize me if thou canst. Thou wast made before I was unmade. And I to him, the anguish which thou hast perchance withdraws thee from my memory, so that it seems not that I ever saw thee. But tell me who thou art, that in a place so woeful art set, and with such a punishment, that if any other is great, none is so displeasing. and he to me. The city which is so full of envy that already the sack runs over held me in it, in the serene life. You citizens call me Shiako, for the damnable sin of gluttony as thou seest, I am broken by the rain. And I, wretched soul, am not alone, for all these endure like punishment, for like sin and more he said not. And I answered him, Shiako, thy trouble so weighs upon me, that it invites me to weeping. But tells me, if thou canst too, what will come the citizens of the divided city, if anyone in it is just, and tell me the reason why such great discord has assailed me. And he to me, after long contention, they will come to blood, and the savage party will chase out the other with great injury. Therefore, within 3 sums, it behoves this to fall, and the other to surmount through the force of one who even now is tacking. It will hold high its front long time, keeping the other under heavy burdens, low ever it may lament, and he be shamed thereat. 2 men are just, but there they are not heeded. Pride, envy, avarice are the 3 sparks that have inflamed their hearts. Here he set end unto the lamented sound. I'm not very good. I never thought about it. All the others just, I'm doing George in the conversation. And it's odd whenever I was speaking to Chiako.
Dude, you are a
Chicho.
bitch. You are weak as fuck, bro.
That was involuntary. That's the thing about it when I'm reading. I can tell, like, certain things take over. It's involuntary. That's what I don't like. And what's not going to happen. I'm not very good with I'm not an actor. So, like, trying to change my voice there into the demon, no. Pride, envy, avarice are the 3 sparks that have inflamed their hearts. No. You can kind of tell there's that echo. And I to him, still I would that thou teach me, and that a more speech that thou make a gift to me. Farinata and the Chiacho, who were so worthy. Jacopo, Rusticucci, Rusticucci, Arrigo, and the Mosca, and the rest who set their minds on well-doing, tell me where they are, and cause that I may know them, for great desire constrains me to learn if heaven sweeten them, or hell envenom. And he, they are among the blacker souls, a different sin weighs them down to the bottom. If thou so far descended, thou canst see them. But when thou shalt be in sweet world, I pray thee, for thou bring me to the memory of others. More I say not to thee, and more I answer thee not. His straight eyes he twisted then awry, looked at me a little, and then bent his head, and fell with it level with the other blind. And the leader said to me, He wakes no more, this side the sound of the angelic trump. When the hostile sovereign shall come, each one will find again his dismal tomb, will take again his flesh and his shape, will hear that which through eternity re-echoes. Thus we pass along with slow steps through the foul mixture of the shades and of the rain, touching a little on the future life. Wherefore I said, Master, these torments, will they increase after the great sentence, or will they become less, or will they be just as burning? And he to me, return to the science, which declares that the more perfect a thing is, the more it feels the good, and so the pain. Though this accursed people never can attain the true perfection, it expects thereafter to be more for than now. We took a circling course along the road, speaking far more than I repeat, and came to the point where he descend is. Here we found Pluto, the great enemy. Pluto appears here not as Hades, the god of the lower world, but in his character as the giver of wealth. Canto 7. The fourth circle, that of the avaricious and the prodigal, Pluto, Fortune, the Styx. The fifth circle, that of the wrathful and the sullen. Pape Satan, elect, began Pluto with his clucking voice. And that gentle sage, who knew everything, said to comfort me, let not thy fear hurt thee, for whatsoever power he have shall not take from thee the descent of this rock. Then he turned to the swollen lip and said, be silent, accursed wolf. Inwardly consume thyself within thy own rage. Not without cause is this going to the abyss. It is willed on high, there where Michael did vengeance on the ground, adultery. As sails swollen by the wine, full fall in a heap when the mast snaps, so fall to earth the cruel beast. Thus we descended into the fourth hollow, taking more of the woeful bank that gathers in the evil of the whole universe. Ah, justice of God, who heapeth up so many new travails and penalties as I saw? And why doth our sin so waste us? As doth the wave yonder upon Cherubis, which is broken on that which it encounters, so it behoves that here the people counterdance. Here saw I people more than elsewhere many, and from one side and the other with great howls, rolling weights by force of chest. They struck against each other, and then just there each turned, rolling backward, crying, who keepest thou, and why flingest thou away? Thus they turned through the dark circle on either hand to the opposing point, still crying out their opprobrious verse. Then each wheeled round when he had arrived through his half-circle to the other joust. And I, who had my heart well nigh pierced through, said, my master, now declare to me what folk is this, and if all these tonsured ones on our left were clerks. And he to me, all of these were so asquint in mind in the first life, that they were made no spending, there were measure. Clearly enough their voices bayed out, and when they came to the points of the circle where the contrary sin divides them, these were clerks who have no hairy covering on their head, and popes and cardinals in whom avarice practices its excess. And I, master, among such as these I ought surely to recognize some who were polluted with these evils. And he to me, vain thought thou harborest, the undiscerning life that made them foul, to all recognition now makes them dim. Forever will they come to the two buddings. These will rise from the sepulchre who close first, with closed fist, and these with shorn hair. Ill-giving and ill-keeping hath taken from them the fair world, and set them to this scuffle. Such as it is, I adorn not words for it. Now canst thou, son, see the brief jest of the goods that are committed unto fortune, for which the human race so scramble. For all the gold that is beneath the moon, or that ever was, of these weary souls could not make a single one repose. Master, said I to him, now tell me further, this fortune on which thou touchest for me, what is it that hath the goods of the world so in its clutches? And he to me, O creatures foolish, how great is that ignorance that harms you! I would have thee now taken my judgment of her. He whose wisdom transcendeth all made the heavens and gave them their guides, so that every part on every part doth shine, equally distributing the light. In likewise for the splendors of the world, he ordained a general ministress and guide, who should ever and anon transfer the vain goods from race to race, and from one blood to another beyond the resistance of human wit. Wherefore one race rules, and the other languages pursuant to her judgment, which is occult as the snake in the grass. Your wisdom hath no withstanding of her. She provides judges and maintains her realms, as theirs the other gods. Her permutations have no truth. Necessity compels her to be swift. So often cometh he who obtains a turn. This is she who is set upon the cross. even by those who ought to give her praise, giving her blame amiss and ill report. But she is blessed and hears this not. With the other primal creatures glad she turns her sphere, and blessed she rejoices. But now we descend to greater pity. Already every star sinks that was rising when I set out, and too long stay is forbidden. But why? Why are you doing that? We cross the circle to the other bank, above a fount that boils and pours down through a cleft that proceeds from it. The water was far darker than Perth, and we, in company with the dusky waves, entered down through a strange way. A marsh it makes that it named Styx. This dismal little stream, when it has descended to that foot of the malign grey slopes. And I, who stood intent to gaze, saw muddy people in that swamp, all naked and with look of hurt. They were smiting each other, not only with hands, but with head, and with chest, and with feet, mangling one another piecemeal with their teeth. The good master said, Son, now thou seest the souls of those whom anger overcame. And likewise I would have these believe for certain that beneath the water are folk who sigh, and make this water bubble at the surface, as thine eye tells thee wherever it turns. Fixed in the slime, they say. Sullen were we in the sweet air that by the sun is gladdened, bearing within ourselves a sluggish flume. Now we are sullen in the black mire. This hymn they gurgle in their throats, for they cannot speak with entire words. Thus we circle the great arc of the foul fin, between the dark bank, between the dry bank and the slough, with eyes turned on those who guzzle the mire. We came at length to the foot of a tower. My eyes, dude, that's unreal. The sin here punished is that known to the Middle Ages as acedia or acidic, slackness in good works and spiritual gloom and despondency. In the Parson's Tale, Chaucer says, envy and ire make bitterness in heart, which bitterness is mother of acidic. I had to deal with you. You're like in the castle, they're like torturing people. Either you're torturing people or you're having sex. And you're talking, and you're dealing with the, you're dealing with alchemy. And you're getting into like, so like brass leaves residue. You're getting into the metals and the residue it leaves. So metals would leave acid if you're melting them down and smelting them. The runoff. So then you're basically like forcing these people to deal with the acid from the metals. Like, why would, dude? You're like Hitler, bitch. I'm gonna have to deal with you. But see, you're in the age of like no cameras. You're off in the woods. Even dogs leave a trail, bro. Try to cover your path. You're gonna have to keep walking there. I'm gonna promise you're gonna find it. That grass ain't gonna, it's not gonna keep growing. You keep walking in the same spot. Put it out in the open, buddy. While you put up the wall. Dude, I could picture the moat. Again, we're at the coffee table. Excuse me. The moats, like an oil spill. Like they're sitting in the moat. Dude, you're a bitch. I can't wait. You're your spine. Oh my goodness, I don't even know what to say to you. You're at the table, bro. You're a bitch. We take no prisoners. Hold on, dude. I'm gonna get some answers here.
Oh, the
We're at the coffee table. Excuse me.
The plate mail.
I'm once in a tornado. Yeah, this just happened, like, literally right next to me. Hold on. Oh, my goodness. What year is this? Sir? 1321. So what year was Bosch? Dude, we're gonna get out all the bros here. Hold on. I'm here. I'm alive, bro. I just want you to know that. Though you've been friendly, I'll be honest. I don't know what that is. Dude, I said that and I start shaking right here. Dude, it was like an immediate surge right here. As soon as I said that, bro. No. But I mean, dude, you've always, as soon as, even on like your posts. I ran on that one, I'll be honest. You've always been a pleasure. I wouldn't even have known. What year are you, Bush? Excuse me, I'm getting into it. You're running this Bosch? 100 years later. Dang, bro. I don't even know what to say to you. There's two things here. Either you're at the castle or you're down in the cave, and either one. The sticks? The money? So that's how you punish the people, like they stole the money? Dude, excuse me? The taxes to be paid? The sin here punished is that known to the Middle Ages as ascetic or acidic. Is that like a you reap what you sow? I think Dante's pointing out to the this guy holds the copyright. I pointed out that he probably passed away at this point. But it would have been stolen, and this is what we do to people who steal. There's a driving force here. You notice the sin would be in honor of myself. And if we go back to the Bible and the original recordings, he would have actually pointed out that he didn't want to call me by my name because it would have dethroned him or her. And also I would like to mention he would not put any weight on anybody's shoulders that he cannot bear. So I'm gonna do this in a section.
Like
we're about
Star
an hour
Wars,
into
bro.
this.
Get the fuck out.
I'm getting tired of talking.
God damn. Truly.
The good master said, I want to... How would I punish him? Bro, if I who is Jesus' brother? You know what I mean?
Good game.
Who is Jesus' brother here? I plead the fifth. First of all, I'm pardoned. Excuse my intolerance, my loud annoyance, my jackal.
Because of this dumbass bullshit.
First of all, I plead the fifth. Second of all, I'm pardoned. Third of all, Jesus' brother James. I'm just gonna slap you all the way. We're gonna go all the way here. The home run, bro. We're going grand slam. How would I punish it? It depends. Punish you to death. First of all, these dudes sold trillions of ideas, worth of ideas, and I have the Brahmin on camera with confession saying that it would not have existed without it. And they proved it. They put it to test. As far as like imagination and stuff. I have a confession of that. Someone's heart. The radio, dude. Bro. Broski. Dude. This is sad that I have to deal with this. I'm telling you, my father's generation, you have a mental disorder. And it makes me sad. I promise you I will turn around on you. And not like... not out of spite, bro. It's because you have a mental disorder. And it's like... you're that big of a pain in the ass. It's not in good taste. Like, there is the divide there. It's not the speed of light. I hate to be the bearer of bad news to the old generation. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. This is a warning to you. I'm warning you, and you're the father here. You dishonor your son. I'm willing to listen, bro. It's like I cannot stress it enough. Like, I want to kill you over it. Right now, I want to punch you in the face. The precious memory, like, it's like a pinch. I can't quite put my finger on it. It's like you're pinching. My mother does it. She did it. I busted in on you, and it's on camera. And this is to my loved one here. To the two of them below me. They're below me. You're below me. I busted in on you for a reason. She does it. She pinches. This is what you're doing. You're pinching. That includes with the mind. You're pinching.
Over and over.
That generation. It's you. I promise you, motherfucker. You're doing more than pissing me off. It's a speed thing. It is a speed thing. You're below me. I cannot stress it. This is why, growing up, you said to my generation that we were the worst generation coming through this. I'm above you. I am willing to listen to you. Older generation, as your son, I'm telling you, I'm above you. I'm willing to listen to you, but you need to listen to me. Stop doing that. Let it go. I promise you it is okay. Everything will be alright. Let it go. It is a speed thing. And this divide, you need to, right here, fix this. That diamond, fix it. It's a pinch. I'm not asking you. So, in a nice way here. I'll end this with David. And I know you can read my mind. Sitting up there on your throne. Let it go. Let it go, right here. I'll walk you down the aisle, I promise you. Let it go. Whatever problem it is you have, we've got it. We're here. Thank you. Isaiah chapter 36. Now it came to pass in the 14th year of King Hezekiah that Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all the defenced cities of Judah and took them. And the king of Assyria sent Rabshakeh from Lachish to Jerusalem unto King Hezekiah with a great army. And he stood by the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field. You can tell he's progressing through the age, I feel like. Then came forth unto him Elikim, or it's the different speed. Then came forth unto him Elikim, Hilkiah's son, which was over the house, and Shebna the scribe, and Joha, and Asaph's son the recorder. And Rabshakeh said unto them, Say ye now to Hezekiah, Thus said the great king, the king of Assyria, What confidence is this wherein thou trusteth? I say, sayest thou, but they are but vain words. I have counsel and strength for war. Now on whom dost thou trust, that thou rebellest against me? Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt to all that trust in him. But if thou say to me, we trust in the Lord our God, is it not he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah hath taken away and said to Judah and to Jerusalem, ye shall worship before this altar? Now therefore give pledges, I pray thee, to my master the king of Assyria, and I will give thee 2,000 horses, if thou be able on thy part to set riders upon them. How then wilt thou turn away the face of one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put thy trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen? And am I now come up without the Lord against this land to destroy it? The Lord said unto me, go up against this land and destroy it. Then said Eliakim, said Shebna, and Johan, and Rabshakeh, speak, I pray thee, unto thy servants in the Syrian language, for we understand it, and speak not to us in the Jews' language, in the ears of the people that are on the wall. But Rabshakeh said, hath my master sent me to thy master, and to speak these words? Hath he not sent me to the men that sit upon the wall, that hath may eat their own dung, and drink their own piss with you? I can read your mind. I can go through it. So the English would be the original, and he's going through it based off English. You can really see it in like Spanish. He's making fun of you guys and mocking you almost. I'm not. It doesn't. I have mine. You have yours. I enjoy this. Here I am. Then Rabshakeh stood and cried with a loud voice in the Jews' language, and said, hear ye the words of the great king, the king of Assyria. Thus said the king, let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in the Lord, saying, the Lord will surely deliver us. This city shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria. Hearken not to Hezekiah, for thus saith the king of Assyria, make an agreement with me by present, and come out to me, and eat ye every one of his vine, and every one of his fig tree, and drink ye every one that waters of his own cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards. Beware lest Hezekiah persuade you, saying, the Lord will deliver us. Hath made any of the gods of the nations delivered his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of Hazmath and Arphad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim, and have they delivered Samaria out of hand? Who are they among all the gods of these lands that have delivered their land out of my hand, that the Lord should deliver Jerusalem out of my hand? But they held their peace and answered him not a word, for the king's commandment was saying, answered him not. Then came Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, that was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joha the son of Asaph, the recorder of Hezekiah, with their clothes rent, and told them the words of Rabshakeh. Rabshakeh? I hope this is right. The Quran. I'm going to go deep here. 1876. Moses replied, if I ever question you about anything after this, then do not keep me in your company, for by then I would have given you enough of an excuse. So they moved on until they came to the people of a town. They asked them for food, but the people refused to give them hospitality. There they found a wall ready to collapse, so the man set it right. Moses protested, if you wanted, you could have demanded a fee for this. He replied, this is the parting of our ways. I will explain to you that you would not bear patiently. As for the ship, it belonged to some poor people working at sea. So I intended to damage it, for there was a tyrant king ahead of them who seizes every good ship by force. And as for the boy, his parents were true believers, and we feared that we would pressure them into defiance and disbelief. So we hoped that their Lord would give them another, more virtuous and caring in his place. And as for the wall, it belonged to 2 orphan boys in the city, and under the wall was a treasure that belonged to them. And their father had been a righteous man. So your Lord will that these children should come of age and receive their treasure as a mercy from your Lord. I did not do it all on my own. This is the explanation of what you could not bear patiently. Are you sure the neighbor didn't dig there and get it out? They ask you, O prophet, about Zulkarnain. Say, I will relate to you something of his narrative. Surely we established him in the land and gave him the means to all things. Ha! So he traveled a course until he reached the setting point of the sun, which appeared to him to be the setting in a spring of murky water, where he found some people. We said, O Zul Karnain, either punish them or treat them kindly. Oh, they were punished. Now it's time. Here's the paperwork and the law. He responded, whoever does wrong will be punished by us, then will be returned to their Lord, who will punish them with a horrible torment. As for those who believe and do good, they will have the finest reward, and we will assign them easy commands. Yeah, he laid it out in a paragraph. I thank you. Then he traveled a different course until he reached the rising point of the sun. He found it rising on people for whom he had provided no shelter from it. So it was, and we truly had full knowledge of him. Then he traveled a third course until he reached a pass between two mountains. He found in front of them a people who could hardly understand his language. They pleaded, O Zur Karnain, surely Gog and Magog are spreading corruption throughout the land. Should we pay you tribute provided that you build a wall between us and them? He responded, what my Lord has provided for me is far better, but assist me with resources, and I will build a barrier between you and them. Bring me blocks of iron. Then, when he had filled up the gap between the mountains, and he ordered blow. When the iron became red hot, he said, bring me molten copper to pour over it. And so the enemies could neither scale nor tunnel through it. He declared, this is a mercy from my Lord, but when the promise of my Lord came to pass, he will level it to the ground, and my Lord's promise is ever true. On that day we will let them surge like waves over one another. Later the trumpet will be blown, and we will gather all people together. On that day we will display hell clearly for the disbelievers, those who turned a blind eye to my reminder and could not stand listening to it. Do the disbelievers think they can simply take my servants as lords instead of me? We have surely prepared hell as an accommodation for the disbelievers. Say, O prophet, shall we inform you of who will be the biggest losers of deeds? They are those whose efforts are in vain in the worldly life while they think they are doing good. It is they who reject the signs of the Lord and their meeting with him, rendering their deeds void, so we will not give their deeds any weight on judgment day. That is a reward, hell for their disbelief and mockery of my signs and messengers. I thank you, congregation. I will return. I don't want to make this too long. I guess we're done. I didn't realize.
Tried to hold my tongue on that one. I'll just back out if I don't like it. I mean, I clearly just watched it do good, so it's not bad. They're just being asses, so go somewhere else. That sucks. That truly, I mean what I say. Well, Star Wars fans, that's unfortunate.